Thanks for tuning in to Dirty Teeth and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm super stoked. I got my hands on a 2021 Salsa Mukluk fat bike. I'm gonna go inside, I'm gonna unbox it, weigh it, build it, all that fun stuff, and see if this puppy's worth the price tag. What do you think?
Yes, I admit it, I'm a complete bike nerd. The only thing I like more than riding bikes is wrenching on them. So when my buddy Wade ordered a brand new Salsa Mukluk, I politely asked if I could unbox it with him and geek out over the specs. Luckily, he graciously obliged. My goal is to offer some initial info and throw in my 2 cents in case you're considering adding a fat bike to your quiver or upgrading your current steed.
New bike day! Yeah!
You should know I'm a Mukluk fanboy. I've been riding mine for 8 years now on everything from JP's Fat Pursuit to the Kamikaze Enduro to tons of sandy and snowy adventures in between. In case you're wondering where the name comes from, Mukluks are soft-soled, comfy shoes worn by indigenous folks in Arctic regions. I've always thought it's a great name for a bike. For 2021, Salsa's offering the Mukluk in 3 complete build options. 2 carbon offerings and 1 with an aluminum frame. If you'd prefer to build yours from the ground up, they also offer a carbon frame set. The Gucciest carbon build has a price point of $3,700, a Shimano 1x12 XT drivetrain, and comes in a beautiful teal color. There's also a green and orange carbon build that comes with a SRAM NX Eagle drivetrain. This is priced at $3,150, while the standalone carbon frame set is priced at $2,000 and only comes in black. The aluminum build kit features a Shimano Deore 1x11 drivetrain and is available in 2 colors, army green or purple, with a price point of $1,600. Yep, you heard me correctly. It's $400 cheaper than the carbon frame set, and you can get his and her aluminum bikes for the same price as 1 complete carbon bike. This is Wade's first fatty and he's riding completely for recreation. So considering the hefty difference in price, he opted for the aluminum build. As I go through the specs, I'll point out some key differences which make the carbon builds appealing, and you can decide for yourself whether they're worth the extra loot. The Mukluk is marketed as a versatile do-all fat bike that's designed for long days in the saddle and multi-day expeditions. Short chain stays and a 69-degree head tube angle keep your weight distributed slightly farther back over the rear wheel. This helps you keep traction when the snow gets soft while also maintaining stability and agile steering. The low bottom bracket height keeps your center of gravity down, inspires confidence while descending, and makes it easier to get on and off the bike. A quick note on weight since you might be curious. Salsa lists an aluminum Mukluk in a size large at 33 pounds, while they have the carbon XT counterpart listed at 30 pounds. That's 3 pounds lighter for the carbon build. For giggles, I put Wade's bike on my park scale and it came in at 33 pounds and 12 ounces. That's about 2/3 of a pound heavier than Salsa advertises. The frame is double and triple butted out of 6066 T6 aluminum. Fancy schmancy. It's heat treated, and according to Salsa, it has better strength and fatigue characteristics than other aluminum out there, meaning they can build a lighter and more resilient frame. In addition, they've specifically shaped and formed it to add strength and stiffness to critical high stress areas. There are 2 bottle cage mounts in the triangle and 1 below in the down tube. A little pet peeve is the rubber inserts included on the down tube braze-ons instead of cage bolts. I don't see why they didn't just include bolts. It's also worth noting that the carbon frames come with bosses on the top tube while the aluminum frame doesn't. This is so they can accept the bolt-on Salsa EXP top tube bag. I have these on my Cutthroat and use the EXP bag extensively. It's definitely a nice touch, but it's not a game changer because most top tube bags secure just fine with Velcro, including the EXP bag. The frame is also equipped with alternator dropouts, which I love. It's nice to customize your chainstay length and have the option to run single speed. The aluminum frame has the alternator 1.0 dropouts, while the carbon frames feature the newer 2.0 design. These have a 2-position fixed plate, but it'll go unnoticed by most. Both frames accept a Salsa alternator rear rack, which is pretty sweet if that's up your alley. What else? There's full-length housing, which keeps your bike shifting well in grimy conditions, and if you decide you want a dropper post, it's set up for internal cable routing as well. The bike comes spec'd with Salsa's Bear Paw fork. It features 3-pack mounts on the fork legs which fit Salsa Anything cages, regular bottle cages, and many other mounting accessories on the market. The carbon bikes feature the Kingpin Deluxe fork, which offers a few upgrades. The Kingpin is all carbon, whereas the Bear Paw has carbon fork legs with an alloy steer tube. This makes the Kingpin a little lighter. The Kingpin also includes 2 sets of 3-pack mounts for massive storage capacity. It also comes spec'd with mid-blade mounts which accept a Salsa lowrider rack, as well as internal cable routing for dynamo hubs. These features won't matter for most riders, but the Kingpin is available as an aftermarket accessory if you decide you can't live without it. My last note about the Bear Paw is it comes with the same cheap rubber inserts that come on the down tube of the frame. In my experience, these pop out really easily and just expose empty holes in the fork. Why can't they just include bolts? Or better yet, both? On to the components. First up is the headset, which is an FSA Orbit. I don't know much about the Orbit, but I've had great success with FSA headsets in the past. FYI, the carbon bikes come spec'd with a Cane Creek 40, which is one of my favorite headsets. The stem is pretty straightforward. It's a Salsa Guide Trail, it weighs 165 grams, comes in a 35mm diameter, and 70mm length for the size large. This is mated to a Salsa Guide Deluxe handlebar, which is obviously 35mm in diameter and 800mm in length. The grips are Salsa File Tread. The website says they're lock-ons, but these are definitely not. It appears from the photos of the carbon bikes that they come with lock-ons, but the aluminum versions definitely don't. It must be a typo. Anyway, these are just generic rubber grips to help keep the price point low. I would just ditch them and get some good lock-ons. The seat post is a Salsa Guide. It's 31.6mm in diameter, 400mm in length. It's about 85 grams heavier than the deluxe version, which is spec'd on the Carbon XT build. The post is held snug with a simple and elegant 35mm Salsa lip lock. Next up is the saddle, which is a WTB Volt with steel rails in the 142 width. The Volt is a very popular saddle, which comes stock on many bikes. I personally think it's pretty comfy. The carbon bikes include the same saddle, but with slightly upgraded chromoly rails, which make it a little lighter. The shifter, derailleur, and cassette are all part of the Shimano Deore M5100 11-speed group set. I took a quick ride to bed in the brakes and found the shifter had the light and easy actuation that Shimano is known for. I was able to grab 3 gears at a time on the main lever. The Shadow RD Plus rear derailleur is designed specifically for the new wide range cassette. It's clutched, keeping chain slap to a minimum, and I'm sure it'll prove reliable over time. The cassette features a wide 11 to 51 tooth range and fits on traditional splined hubs with standard lock rings. This makes it compatible with many wheels on the market without having to upgrade to Shimano's new micro spline, which is necessary for its 12-speed offerings. All in all, I think these Deore components are a great choice for this bike, which leads me to the crankset chainring combo. As far as fat bike cranks go, the Mukluk allows for a pretty narrow Q factor, which minimizes stress on the knees. It features a 30-tooth direct mount chainring and crank arm length is 175. These cranks are made by a company called Samox, which I'd never heard of before. I looked them up and they're made in Taiwan, but their US distributor is QBP, which is also Salsa's parent company. So I'm sure they got a great deal on the cranks to keep the price point low. They seem well made, so I'm curious if their presence in the US grows. For your information, the carbon builds come with either race face turbine cranks or SRAM stylos, both pretty good upgrades. Also, if you're curious, the Mukluk supports a maximum 32-tooth chainring for 1x setups and a 36-24 for 2xs. Salsa chose to spec a KMC X11 chain with an anti-rust EPT coating. This coating protects the chain against salt, snow, and rain. Since most people ride fat bikes in snow and inclement weather and keep them stored outside, I think this was a thoughtful choice. The bottom bracket appears unbranded. It's a standard BSA threading with 100mm fat bike width, which I highly prefer over press fits, which have saturated the market lately. Stopping power is applied via Tektro hydraulic disc brakes with 160mm rotors front and rear. I've noticed these brakes coming standard on more and more bikes lately. My daughter's Liv mountain bike came with them recently, and she's loving them. To me, they have similar modulation and lever feel as Shimano brakes. A lot of people are concerned about hydraulic brake performance in cold weather, especially those that use mineral oil like Shimano or Tektro. I could talk for days about this, and I'll put a couple of informative links in the description below, but in a nutshell, unless you're consistently riding in sub-zero temps, and more realistically, sub 15 to 20 degree temps, you should be fine. You might encounter sluggish lever response in situations like that, but as the temperatures rise, it'll get better. I've always preferred brakes that use dot fluid in extremely cold temps since it has a lower freezing point than mineral oil. And after all, it's what we use in our cars. If you're still nervous, you can always switch to mechanical disc brakes like Avid BB7s. I find it interesting that Salsa specs SRAM guide brakes on the carbon builds, which uses dot fluid. Just saying. Before getting into wheels and tires, I just wanted to note that Salsa specs the exact same wheel and tire combos across all the complete builds. The only difference is the Carbon NX build has black tires while the rest feature tan walls. I think these are a good spec for the carbon bikes and a fantastic spec for a $1,600 aluminum bike. First up are the Sunringley Mulefoot SL80 rims with an 80mm internal width. I've built quite a few wheels with these rims and I like them a lot. They're super easy to set up tubeless with the Sunringley tape, which I'd highly recommend. I put a link in the description. They're paired to Sunringley SRC hubs with Wheelsmith double-butted black spokes. Hub spacing is 15x150 in the front and 12x197 in the rear, which is pretty much the standard for fat bikes these days. The wheels are held on the bike with Salsa deadbolt through axles. There's no skewers or levers to tighten them. You need a 6mm Allen wrench, so as long as you have one on your multi-tool, you're good to go. Rubber comes in the form of 45 North Dillinger 5s with a steezy tan sidewall. These are 26 by 4.6 inches wide. They come tubeless ready and custom studdable. This means they don't come with fixed studs built in, but you can buy them separately and install as many or as few as you like. Depending on your riding conditions, this can be a great option. The tires have 60 threads per inch. For riding on snow, I prefer the lighter and more supple 120 TPI version, but they're more expensive and I'm definitely not complaining, especially at this price point. If you're considering bigger tires or a plus wheel set for the summer, the Mukluk has you covered. It'll fit up to 4.8 inch tires on 100mm rims. You can also run 29 plus, 27.5 plus, 27.5 plus plus, pretty much whatever your heart desires. I can feel you asking me, which build would I get? That's a good question. Of course, if money's no object, I'm getting the carbon frame set and doing a custom dirty teeth build. Although I am vibing the XT carbon build in that teal color. But honestly, unless you're going for podiums and extreme winter ultras, or just feel like you need a carbon frame and those extra bells and whistles, the aluminum bike is gonna be just dandy for almost everybody. For $1,600 it offers great bang for the buck and should be a serious contender for anybody considering a new fat bike. That's it for this bike. What do you think? If you found anything useful in this video, please give us a like. If I missed anything or if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I upload fresh mountain biking and bike packing content every week, so please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. Until next time, ride bikes, drink beer, live happy. Thanks so much for squeezing dirty teeth into your busy schedule. Please help us reach more people and ensure you receive new videos by giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell. Until next time, ride bikes, drink beer, live happy.